Tanya, I'm very excited to have you with us today for Convocation, and we are so honored at Nipissing University to have you as our latest graduate. So I'm wondering, you are an award-winning journalist, you're an author, your books are falling off the shelves in popularity. Is there something in your life experience, in your research as a journalist or an author, or people that you've met, is there something striking that you'd like to share with us about that experience? A person or an event?
I think my writing comes from a place of community. It comes from the people that have come into my life, the people that I meet. I've been lucky to be doing this for a very long time. I always knew I wanted to be a writer, but then I had the incredible opportunity of actually joining my campus newspaper. And it was at university that I realized I could make money being a storyteller by writing stories. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of money, mind you, mm-hmm. but I could do that. I could exist. I could be a journalist by meeting people, talking to people. You get to get pieces of everyone. And my community in Northern Ontario really is what fuels me. And so when you ask me that question as to, why do you do this and what is it that motivates you? It's for our people. It's for our people in Northern Ontario, and it's also for Canada to try and see if we can come to a just society. It's been a tenuous 150 years, to say the least. And I think that there are ways we can move forward. And one way of doing that is by sharing stories and by understanding, by learning about each other. And for an Anishinaabe person like myself, telling stories is so very important.
Well, that's a wonderful synergy for us, being a university of the North, for the North, and very proud of that. You're going to be speaking to our audience today, so we have our faculty and staff, of course, and family, parents, friends, and a group of graduating students. And you're probably going to impart some wisdom. But before that, is there any particular piece of advice that you've received in your lifetime that has really been important for you?
I'm actually going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about the Anishinaabe 7 grandfather teachings, so 7 sacred teachings that I believe that you don't have to be Anishinaabe to use these 7 teachings in order to go through life in a good way, to lead a balanced life. And so I lean on the 7 teachings when I think of how I can lead my life and what piece of advice that I have. Off the top, that's exactly what I think and what comes to me. But also what comes to me is the importance of being there, of showing up, it's a really simple piece of advice, but someone said it to me once. It was a colleague of mine, and he said, showing up is 50% of the game. And it's true, It sounds like a funny thing to say, but life is chaotic, life is tough. People don't really know which way to go or, if they should take that extra mile. But by me saying that, I'm saying you need to take that extra mile. You need to be present. You need to show up. And even if you haven't done all the work, even if you haven't done everything you're supposed to do for your classes or everything you're supposed to do before you meet a new colleague, still show up, be there, be honest, and see where that knowledge that you're getting, your gifting, takes you.
That sounds like great advice, and our students are going to appreciate that. I spend a lot of my time talking to people about the value of post-secondary education and what it can do for people. And when it comes right down to it, you're our honorary doctorate, but it's the university, it's me who is honored to have you as one of our graduates. And so what would you say, what do you think is an important role for post-secondary education? How would that, you win awards for how you communicate these ideas, so how would you advise me in my next speech to talk about the value of education to young people and old people.
Showing up is 50% of the game, right? You know, that's something that young people need to know too. And no matter what age you are, you never stop learning. I mean, the graduates today are going to be receiving a piece of paper that signifies the 4 years they spent or the 3 years or whatever program they were in. But that's just the beginning. You know, education is to open your mind. It is the start of the rest of your life of learning. And I think it's really important that we make sure that happens in our northern institutions. I think that our northern universities really need a strong backbone and to weather the storms that come. You know, and those storms can be financial, those storms can be people, you know, fleeing and wanting to go to southern universities or somewhere different, but there's a real need for a university like Nipissing, like Lakehead, like Algoma, like Laurentian, that knows the history of the place and is actually leading the way too. When I think of integration and inclusion with Indigenous peoples, I think of northern universities, and I think that that's a growing, it's a part of where all universities should be with growth, and northern universities can lead the way in showing how that's done. So I would say all of those things if I were you.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. So it's been a real pleasure to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to our time in the next few hours, and thank you very much.
Miigwech.